Oh yeah. Well, we just started the show. Um, this is episode 39, Beyond the Pendulum. We're back from a hiatus, and I brought Vandeman from down under. I don't even know. I don't even know what day or time it is there. I never know. All right, we'll try and go for an hour. And I had everybody's microphone muted. Great. Great. Such professional. I like I've been telling Alamo, before the show. I've been on a social media hiatus where I'm starting to see why there are why Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp and these other journalists are kind of unplugged from social media, and it's not necessarily just the regurgitation of bullshit, because a lot of it is. But I'm finding that when I'm exploring and I'm searching for different avenues to get stuff, I'm how should I say this? I'm finding answers, but not in the places that you guys would think it is. And there's even like UFO Reddit is pretty bad, where I don't know, like I don't want to say that the Reddit forum for slash UFOs isn't controlled by some sort of I don't have proof. I don't have proof yet, but there's something really weird. There's something really weird with their API or the way that whole group is using bots, whatever they're doing in the background. But there is a lot of weird censorship I've seen in that Reddit community. I have seen bombs dropped of what I think is legit whistleblowers have dropped information in there, but I have more problems scrolling through that forum than any other place for UFOs. It's just on UFO Reddit. I don't know if anybody
information where you can get it.
Yeah.
And then collate it later, go through it later. You know what I mean? Because you still have to sift through all of the information that you collect as well. I like multiple sources, so that way I can cross-reference between them.
Yeah. There's been let me see. David Grush's op-ed didn't happen. I don't know what's happening. I know that David Grush was removed from the Soul Foundation. I don't have any updates on why. The UFO community is starting to... I do hear in the background, I do hear the skeptics saying that this is because he's a fraud, he's a fruit, he's a this, he's a that. I'm not going to say anybody's in anything until I see it. But it is a little weird. Like, I understand David Grush. I understand that he's being, he's abiding by the rules because he's fighting this beast or whatever that he's fighting against. But what I'm saying is that, if I were him in his position and I wasn't, if I didn't have money coming in from the government, if I didn't retire, if I was like, when you get out of the military, you get a pension. I suspect he is. I would throw in the towel and just say everything, because unfortunately we're at this point where we're up in an uphill battle, and
they can cut your pension and your benefits though.
Yeah, that's how they got everybody by the balls.
At that age, it's a lot harder to get work. You know what I mean? And your body's just not in the shape that it used to be to do the hard labor that was once easy.
Yeah, I get it. But
it's the same way that they forced everybody to take the vaccine, right? They held their job and their livelihood over their heads, passed the responsibility down to the business owners, and the business owners forced their staff to do it So that way the government could then shirk the responsibility. Legally, it then falls down to the businesses if there's any damages, because it's workplace injury now, because
Yeah,
it was required for work.
yeah. I'm not even gonna go there right now. We just had a dinner discussion, right, with a bunch of doctors, right? Then they were talking about like the new Novo whatever vaccine. They're asking me like, "Are you gonna get it?" And I said, "Not after the third one." And I got COVID. Like, no way. I'm not getting any more of that shit. Fuck that. Plus, it doesn't even matter anymore after like the whole Omicron is that was nature by design. That was the best thing that could have happened was a mutation made it weaker. So that's usually what happens. That's why the Spanish flu of like what is it whatever the 1900s.
Bacterial pneumonia.
Yeah, it eventually.
Bacterial pneumonia was the Spanish flu. And as you and I both know, it didn't start in Spain.
Yeah, it's these things tend to water down, especially when somebody has like a really messed up immune system, especially like autoimmune disease, where it thinks that every host, everything, is an enemy.
And what we're
Um,
seeing now is a lot of damaged immune systems as a result of this as a result of this immunization program, which means now a lot of people are more susceptible to the things that they previously would have been able to fight off. Those with damaged immune systems, their immune systems are destroyed beyond repair, and those that have robust immune systems are damaged and within time do repair themselves. The human body is designed that way, which is why it basically freaks out when you start changing the cells in the body to start producing spike proteins, because every cell next to that cell realizes that that cell is doing something it's not supposed to, and the immune system reacts and starts fixing all of these little things that the vaccine has rearranged.
yeah, the only weird thing that I've experienced, and this is like a UFO show. Sorry, guys. The only weird thing is like I've had a couple people who have had it multiple times now that really were like I feel bad for you, bud, but I don't know how to help you. Where the virus, I think because they had the earlier versions of the virus where it did do some like physical damage, and they always feel like they never have any energy and this and that. But I don't think the solutions are where science is going to look for it. And unfortunately, that I found when if you have like a really weird shit that's going on with your immune system, stop looking for medical science and start doing your own research. Start looking in research papers. That's what
Eat
I had to
healthy,
do. Yeah.
exercise, watch what you eat. Back to the UFO thing, did anybody catch the YouTube video that was apparently released by Ukrainian troops on the front? Their drone footage apparently captured a cigar shaped object in the battlefield. And when they approached it, the drone lost all power and control because they had this great idea to ram it with an explosive drone. They didn't get too far close to it.
Yeah, we were just watching it before the show.
I just seen
Yeah.
it yesterday.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like a 5, 6 second clip run in repeat, and you can see at the end of it, it sort of starts distorting. The visuals start distorting in the frame, which suggests that there was some sort of interference with the signal as the drone got closer to the object. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, to be honest, like I wouldn't. I was listening to what's the guy the head of aerospace safety and aviation, one of the three that were at the panel at the UFO hearing. The guy that was part of like the Top Gun, special forces for like the Air Force. They fly like Top Gun. They're like the legit Top Gun guys, not the older guy, but the other guy that was who wasn't involved in the Tic Tac incident. And I was listening to him interview. That was like the first time I actually had heard his story about how what was going on. But apparently, when they got the new F-18 when the F8 when they were upgrading the F-18 radar active radar system that they have inside of the F-18s, which are mainly scouting planes, so they're fast, but they're not really designed for like a an endurance fight. They were picking up on a daily basis, roughly at roughly around 20 to 50,000 feet at regular intervals. 1 meter objects that were kind of all over the place, and he thought it was at first they were just recording this and or whatever, and just relaying it to the tower. So these are places that we need to avoid on our flight paths, and we don't know what they are. And until one day somebody actually saw one because they almost hit it, and I guess when it got close, it wasn't invisible anymore. It was roughly one of those sphere things that we're talking about. So I don't want to be like scare people, but I think that these things are more common in our skies than anybody really wants to know.
The maiden flight of the Concorde experienced the same thing. A glowing orb had done a full 360 around the fuselage while it was in flight, um, and then flew away.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the other guy was saying they didn't actually follow the planes at all. They would move around them if they were gonna hit it. The object would move, but for the most part, they just seemed like they were stationary, which is why they thought that they were.
This one that followed the Concorde wasn't stationary. It was they were filming the Concorde in flight from side on, and this object came up from behind at high speed and then stopped directly in line with the middle of the craft as they were filming it from side on, right? You could see it do a full loop around the craft and then take off in front of it at the same speed that it arrived at, like as if it was nothing.
Yeah, that's the thing is that's kind of where you know they're obviously using some technology that is beyond our grasp and
My
probably
guess is that they're drones. Like we use drones
yeah.
at the moment. It's the safest. It doesn't risk any life, and you can pretty much do whatever you want with it.
That's
What
kind of what I'm at where I'm at too as well. Go ahead,
that would
Alma.
explain, about what they can do the high G's because there's nothing, anything biological in it. It's all
Exactly,
computerized. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. So that way, I mean, you don't. There's a lot of things you don't have to answer when it's a drone. It's still performing feats which are next to impossible for us.
Now it could still be, if it's a silicone type of life form, it could still be living in that sense, if there's anybody out there like that, but
I have no
that
doubts.
silicon organic, uh, what do you
I'll,
call
I'll,
them,
I'll easily go on
electronics,
record. I'll say there's no doubt in my mind that the universe is teeming with life. Because
Yeah.
the only other option, the opposite to that, is we're the only life in the universe. And I think that the universe is more likely to be teeming with life than us being the only life in the universe, considering everything we know about extremophiles, and the fact that Europa and Enceladus hide in undersurface ocean.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's enough.
No.
There's yeah. The what is it? The gravitational forces alone and water are enough to. There's enough heat there to keep anything alive indefinitely if you can keep the gravitational forces going on forever.
Well, they used to have the saying that if you found water, you almost certainly found life. That's the big key to everything.
Well,
And you have these water worlds, I mean, there almost has to be something there.
we did find they did find microbes on that NASA one, the one that ran into the asteroid and brought it back. They found microbes on it and water.
Oh yeah, that's the one where they had the lid was stuck with some kind of black crap, which is probably the bio sludge.
Well, they Yeah, they found life and not found life. They found microbes. They found water.
I know they found complex amino acids.
Yeah. The thing is, I was amino acids just doesn't necessarily mean life, and
And organic compounds.
yeah, I'm more of a I'm leaning. I've always leaned more towards panspermia or something like that. There's enough because I was there are people that study DNA more than I even more than what I know about it, and apparently the DNA sequence in human beings is like it would take 50 was it they said the the DNA sequence is just much older than what our planet is or whatever. It's like 50 billion years or something. I don't know how they came up with that number, but would make sense that the our DNA might not have everything on this planet might not have life might have not
Originated
started.
here.
Yeah, some might have started somewhere else.
Well, you have these meteors that, they streak green that have this cyanobacteria, which gives it that green color. So, I mean, to me, it's just, it's
Copper
like
in the rock as well will do that.
it's, yeah, it's kind of obvious they're out there, that there's like that Pan Spring, just among all this dust and rock, stuff is growing. How else could you come up with all this? Or like that what is that reentry module? Having those things, on it, from the. I mean, it tells you right there. It can be cold, no atmosphere, and yet something still there growing. Looks like.
Troglodyte.
Oh, I know
Does
what you.
everything sound
Yeah.
weird on your guys? Does everything sound weird on your guys' end? Because everything sounds weird on my end.
No. That sounds
Oh,
okay.
good.
I wonder if on my end. I don't. Everything just sounded like it was all computery for like a few minutes. I have a good stream and downstream. It might be my equipment. Anyway,
Tardigrades. That's what you're talking about.
yeah,
Tardigrades.
tardigrades. Yeah, one of
Yeah,
the
something along those lines. I mean, it's going to be, if they're not doing it, if that is not doing it itself, then it's, low level biological, along those lines.
let me. I'm gonna come back again. I'm just gonna try and refresh my connection. Hold on. What the?
Deliberately ignorant or old-fashioned.
Oh, it used to be a cave dweller was a troglodyte.
There we go. Much better connection.
Excellent.
Let me see. Jeremy and George Knapp are saying are they? I've been aware. I've been aware of this group. There's a skeptic group that are they've been guarding all of the UFO pages on Wikipedia and aren't allowing anybody to change anything on any of these pages and making everybody look like an idiot that has anything UFO related on them. And I've witnessed it personally. They're called the Gorilla Crew. And all they do all day is they go on Wikipedia and they remove people's editing on any of the UFO stuff and put it back to the way that they want it to make everybody. If anybody looks into this UFO shit, they're not going to find what they're looking for.
Well, that's not the only reason. I mean, it's too bad because Wikipedia, is a good idea, but it's got politicized, and well, that's the best way to put it.
Well, look, Wikipedia is great if you want to look up the chemical formula for something or the industrial process for something. But if you want to look up geopolitical or anything politically sensitive, yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's really weird. It's because one of the head people, that is in this gorilla group in these Wikipedia pages that are supposed researchers. It's like a manager as a manager at a 99-cent store. Like, how are these people educated enough to make any of these decisions about what's related to the like? Never mind. I'm not. That's like. It's a great idea. Wikipedia. I don't know. Like I don't even. When I found that out, like about a 3 or 4 weeks ago, I actually I donated to Wikipedia for years, and no, I'm never going to again. Never again.
Yeah, I mean, there has to be, there should be an understanding there that they're going to hold to some kind of ethical standard. And it looks like they're being corrupted. Like this guy that say works at 99 Cent Store, he's just like a front man. Somebody's paying him to do that.
Do you know how much? Do you know? Have you seen their budget for a nonprofit? Have you seen their budget? It's like 150 fucking million dollars.
Yeah, I don't think it costs that much to run a website. I mean, I really don't.
Me neither. Me neither. Like, and they have no. They don't have any real. I mean, they do have some employees. They got devs and stuff, but everybody that contributes to the site is not paid. People that add these Wikipedia pages, they're not paid people. These are everyday normal people, just like you and me, who are bored just adding to the site.
Yeah, they're well funded. I mean, who can afford to do that though? I mean, I don't think there's that many gullible people. I mean, you said you donated, but at the same time, I mean, I don't think you can small amount donate that high.
Yeah,
Just
it's
it's astroturf somehow. It's just
yeah. When I learned that, I mean, I knew something was up when I tried to do something malicious like years ago. Um, and I was just trying to discredit somebody on there, and they changed it back. I know that there are some people that are dedicated to the site, but if you if it okay when it comes to occult pages, you don't see any, especially the stuff that I look into, like the really really obscure stuff. You don't see any of the skeptics or the skeptic languages and or diehard fundamentalist stuff out there. They just give you the facts, but like once you start going to these popular wiki pages, some people like have some real with that website. I have real problem with hearing hearing explanations or anything that they don't believe in. They don't want it on the internet, pretty much, or at least on Wikipedia. Like they even named Bob Lazar as conspiracy theorist. Um, Speaking of Bob Lazar, maybe Van Man can, if you're still there, Richard Doty. Um, I guess he's been pretty active on some of the internet channels out there like Gaia, but Richard Doty was on a podcast. You know who Richard Doty is? Anybody? No hands?
no, no.
Richard Doty was a counterintelligence officer at one of the Air Force bases that was involved in a lot of, I guess, covert stuff and some I believe at some point there was some UFO stuff, but he was also responsible for like ruining some stuff that Linda Moulton Howe was doing with the cattle abductions in the early '80s. There was like he fucked up like a whole UFO special with HBO and was giving her false expectations that he had some real info. But Richard Doty did do a stint at Area 51, and there were some things that Richard Doty had mentioned that Bob Lazar didn't know anything about. Now, I don't know who's telling the truth. You know, like I want to believe Bob Lazar. I want to, like I'm a diehard fan of his, but I don't
Well,
know.
his information is like way old now. I mean, in the time he was out there, what, 25, 30 years ago, maybe? I mean, it's all dated.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that because at least you allegedly get to find out what was going on back then and you have some kind of reference. But
Well, there were just some things that were apparently there was like no place called S4. At least when Richard Doty was there, they didn't even call it that. So, and there were things these like security protocols they call A, B, C, and D. And he didn't know any of that. And there were some other like there's Bob Lazar knew a lot of things or had said some things over the years that have now come to fruition are true. And there are other things that he has said that I don't, that I think is kind of just hogwash. So I don't know. I never know. It's like that enigma, like I believe him.
yeah, because you never get there's, I mean, you can have multiple sources and all that, but when you seem to be looking into this, when you don't have any affirmative confirmation
Yeah,
that, or a picture, people standing next to something, I mean, government agency, whatever it is that would be running that, when you don't have that kind of confirmation, there's no, there's no closure. You always have that big question mark.
yeah, and like there are like I honestly think that Bob Lazar wasn't working at the facility as long as he said he was. That part, I believe, based off of his W-2 that I had seen or whatever it popped up. But there are other things. There are other like he just deep down. I do think he's telling the truth. I don't think that he was informed about a lot of things because he didn't work at the facility long enough. Like, how would he have known about, like, and there was like a video, remember? There was like a video, like a VHS video of them recording the fucking UFOs. You know?
Oh yeah, you have the old, God, what was that guy's name?
John Lear.
Yeah, but there was another one. He was kind of on the right wing side.
Oh,
What was his name?
yeah,
He got
he
shot.
was,
It was, I'm in '99. Can't believe I can't remember his name. Shit.
wasn't he? He was friends
Here,
with Lear,
here.
right? He was Jim Goodall.
No, man. Let me. William Cooper.
Oh, I'm not familiar with
He
that
did
guy.
a. Huh?
Not as familiar with that guy.
Yeah, he ran a. Well, he had some big UFO films. I think it was called Operation Red Light and Operation Red Light 2, way back in the '90s, back when you could still get a decent view of Area 51 before they pushed them out. And they filmed a few things and that were weird, but I don't know. I mean, at least it was something. That's he ran a group called Kaji, CAJI, which was just like a clearing. If you had any kind of like weird information or information of any kind, it was like a clearinghouse of weird stuff that he would go through. and it could be a cult. It's kind of like this show. It'd go through a cult, UFOs, like wherever it went, religion, it didn't matter.
You know what I
He
have
was
been
he was the
taking a
Alex
look at
Jones
recently?
Huh?
Yeah, he was the Alex Jones before Alex Jones.
Been
Oh.
taking another look at the Skinwalker Ranch
Yeah.
and what's been happening around there. I didn't realize that there was a military base right next to it.
I didn't know that either.
I went and pulled up some maps to get a topographical sort of perspective of the area. And lo and behold, there's a huge military installation there. Not much of it is above ground. They do have the largest body of water on their land, right next to the facility. My suggestion, or well, I would guess that is the top part of a larger facility, which I suspect is
Oh shit.
subterranean.
Oh shit, you're right. It's right there on the fucking map. Holy shit.
Now that large body of water would supply, provided it didn't get contaminated or could even get, filtered, would supply a facility for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you notice it is the largest body of water in the area. I don't know if it's man-made and natural or how deep it is. But yeah, like the military base is right next door, like literally.
Well, that kind of makes sense in a way. I mean, it's been known as a portal. Uh, I mean,
One of
if
the
it's in the
places, it's known as, so far the evidence is showing it's one of the places that the location is energized and charged. All right, I'm not going to go and say that it's got a portal, even though that's what's being reported. I'm not denying it, but you're getting weird radiation readings. You're getting weird microwave readings. You're getting weird magnetic readings. You're getting gamma radiation like being released in certain spots. It's like this doesn't happen normally anywhere else, except a few locations that seem to have the same shit going on.
Yeah, I was gonna say there are another, like, I do know another one. There are a few of these places, but yeah, there's another one called it's called Morrow Woods, but that's not its real name. I know where it is though.
And then there's another one called the Brecon Beacons in England.
Haven't heard of that one.
That's I got to send you some info on that. That was when I was looking into human mutilations. You've heard of cattle mutilations?
Yeah, I've heard of human
Well,
mutilations too. Yeah.
Hey,
that's when
you
I
know
was
who
looking into that.
you know who tracks the cattle mutilations is the FBI. It's weird how they track one of these UFO issues like
Well, they have
more
to
than
because
anybody
it's
does.
a lot. They think the FBI thinks the phenomenon is related to fraud, and I think some of the investigators are kind of offish about it because they can't find any evidence of fraud. There's money, there's monetary value in these things dying, you know. But yeah,
Well, a full cow is not cheap with the price of meat as it is at the moment. A cow is worth a fair bit of cash.
I wonder, I wonder if the tulpa phenomenon is related to, because we were talking before the show about the tulpas, and I have talked about it in high occultism of to others about, maybe demon the whole demonology is just a manifestation
Funny
of.
you should say demon, right? Because
Yeah,
the NATO guys that were being interviewed, right, that said
yeah.
that they were part of a crash retrieval unit and so on and so forth. They said that they had only ever seen three different types, and when they were questioned, what do they look like? The guy said they look like demons. Now that got me thinking because a few years back during the 60s, there was apparently, if you believe, the deathbed confessions, there was a delegations sent to Earth to meet with US top officials at a secret location. And nobody was supposed to have any weapons during this meeting, which was fine. But the MPs that were stationed that day got a brief glimpse of one of the alien delegations, and the report was that this guy was heavily religious and absolutely lost his shit, shouting out, "They're demons, they're demons, they're devils." And he had to be subdued and taken away when the delegation passed, like, in front of him to the point where, he could see them with his own eyes. Yeah, he lost his shit, shouting out, "They're demons," freaking out, and they quickly, took him away. But that's two reports now that have sort of suggested that they look freakishly unhuman, scary kind of looking. If it was enough to freak out, two grown men.
Well, we were talking before the show, and and through my years of doing the occult, I have run across that subject face to face many times, and have a few scars. And I talked this to other practitioners in the field, um, that I've thought about it. I'm not sure if you know what a tulpa is, but it's a Tibetan belief
No.
that a tulpa is something that explains that what we find in occult literature. Usually, the practitioner will have a what we call a homebrew demon, where they call some people call them familiars, other people call them even the Jewish mysticism has them. But in tulpas are like a being that is comes from your own imagination that you have put enough energy and time to, and after a while it manifests and it develops its own kind of consciousness. I'm not saying it's like a real being, but it feeds off of negative emotions, and eventually it becomes a manifestation of its own. But I've always thought that that's that demons aren't because I've run across it more than a couple hundred times, and it didn't the entity didn't know more than the person would know. There's only a few times when they did, and I might have not verified it, but a lot of times you will find that the entity doesn't know more than the person it's inhabiting. So I've always thought that demons, they might be some form of consciousness, but they have more of an earthly thing. And then I've always come across the field is that the whole demonology thing is more of a manifestation of what a tulpa would be. But given the history of man, we got what, couple 100,000 years, and who knows what a being made of full consciousness can develop in a three-dimensional physical world. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Look, there's nothing wrong with speculating.
Yeah.
We're just throwing ideas back and forth here. We're not dying on any hill. We're just sort of exploring and repeating what we've read and others have sort of said to us, in the hopes of trying to sort of piece something together that actually makes sense.
Well, I've said it before, but there's these weird consciousness experiments where I think that the cosmic glue might be consciousness, but I might be wrong. You just find these weird things in quantum physics that just make no sense. Like
I
when
know one thing.
yeah.
There's more to energy than meets the eye. It never ceases, it only changes form. And if you grab two electrodes of a multimeter, set it onto the lowest setting you can, like to millivolts, you'll see it fluctuate and jump up and down, reading your biorhythm in the most simplest way that it can.
Oh, yeah. I
I
actually
don't know if you
I
have a,
was
I
I
don't know if
was
you have a multimeter or not, but
I
yeah,
was looking
it's like,
into that, recently. I was like, wondering, what kind of charge does the human body have? Is it
You got to grab
positive?
a multimeter because I mean I got a shit ton of them because I'm a technician. That's what I do as a job. So I've got multimeters lying around the house all the time. But I highly recommend if you don't have one, get one because I'd rather have one and not need it than need one and not have it. I mean, at worst case, you can use your multimeter to check if your batteries have any charge in them. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
But they can be used for a lot more than just that. And once you have one, you will learn how to use one. There's heaps of YouTube videos that'll teach you, but you've got to have one to be able to learn how to use one. And you can get a decent one for 50, $60.
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with them. I used to have them. Well, it was like 2 decades ago when I was still doing the paranormal investigating
But yeah,
stuff.
they can be used to get a charge, like reading out of an object. You know what I mean? Like it's handy little tools to have.
I always wondered about that.
I,
Like, what kind
I
of
highly
chart?
recommend having a compass with you at all time if you can.
That I don't do regularly. No, I don't
And
have a
if you
compass.
can, pull it out, pull your compass out during a lightning storm. And when the lightning strikes, have a look at your compass and see what happens.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'll do that next time too.
But that's the thing. How many people carry a compass around them with them? You know what I mean? To be there during a lightning strike or near a lightning storm while having a compass with them to see the effect on the compass. It's rather amazing.
Yeah, it's like when you start hearing weird stuff like that, it makes you think.
And that's completely natural phenomena created by our planet.
There's another one I was reading today, where if you have a bubble in water and you send in a pressurized tube and you send a sound wave into it, it'll produce photons. I was like, what the fuck? And
Do you have any papers on this?
yeah, there's like it's called sonoluminescence, and
Yeah.
some
Look,
people
I'm
think
interested.
some people think that it's nuclear, but the leading thing is that these photons are being produced what are called virtual particles because they these there's not a lot of people looking into this, but there's a type of shrimp that do this underwater too. It's one of the only animals in the world that can see the full spectrum, and it's something called
Mantis
a
shrimp.
yeah. It does the
Mantis
same
shrimp.
thing. Yeah,
Mantis shrimp.
when they move their little claw like that, it produces a little pop and spark under the water. So that's the
Yeah.
same thing that I'm talking about. But they think that the photons that are being produced are not like some sort of it's not hydrogen. It's not hydrogen oxygen forming into some other element. It is some. It is. They don't think
Almost
it.
like cavitation on the blade of a propeller as it spins. The
Something.
differentiation in the pressure ends up eating away into the metal. And it's just water, but eventually the cavitation on the blade eats away at the metal, as in chips away at it.
Yeah. Like I've seen I've seen like little reactors and stuff, like little hydrogen reactors, and um, you know, you know, produce a glow. But I was surprised when I saw sonic luminescence
Yeah, I
from.
want to know more about this. This is interesting.
Yeah, they actually found out about it on accident when they were trying to figure out a way to develop film reels faster by pumping some sort of ultrasonic, similar to what you use on your when you're pregnant. When they're looking for the baby and stuff.
Ultrasound.
Yeah, they were using something like that to try and make the film develop faster, and they found out that when they did it, they were developing faster, but they had all these dots on it until they started looking at the little the tubes or whatever the hell they were doing, and it was producing these little balls of light in the dark.
It looks like it has something to do with phase change. When it's in water and you're going to a bubble, so you're going to a gas state.
Between mediums,
There's a
yeah, it's changing
there's a
mediums.
there's a phase change there. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, they don't know where the photons are coming from. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
There's still a lot we don't understand about the things that we think we understand.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, we've filled up libraries with the things we know or think we know. Imagine the library of the things we don't know.
Oh yeah, especially like
That's a tough one.
especially with
Because it's one of
chemistry.
those things where you don't know what you don't know. And so the library could be infinite.
Yeah, like today I saw this. I was reading on MSN, and I thought I didn't double check it, but there was an article about what was it? Quantum batteries. I didn't even know that was a real thing.
I thought it was the thing only on Rick and Morty.
Me too.
You know,
Well,
you grab a car term, you attach a sci-fi term, and bang, you're rolling.
well, I didn't think there was a way to like get electricity out of the fucking vacuum of nothing.
Well, that's the thing. It's not actually nothing. It's something, but we don't know what it is. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
even at the fact that you spin in a circle, right, and you bring your arms in, you spin faster, right? You put your arms out and you spin slower, but your arms are being pulled out. You know what I mean? What is that centrifugal motion that's pulling your arms out, that force, right, is something. Just that force is something. In that nothingness.
There you go, as a quantum battery. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. I didn't even know that was a real thing.
Well, I could, if you accept the fact of the, what do you call them, the magic particles, or they're there but they're not there, so there would have to be a difference.
There was one device that I saw. It was on a pay-per-view, very small niche site where I did see a guy that did have a working prototype of some sort of device that was being powered on the quantum level, but I didn't see everything that he was doing. It didn't seem like he was trying to do uh, a rug pull, because I don't think the guy made a hell of a lot of money even on the thing. So there was a lot of machine parts, and it did look very like a very expensive setup that he had. So there was some money invested into that, but it did appear that there was some sort of unseen force that was powering the device that was moving around. And it wasn't what I don't know. It could have been a fucking. It could have all been like a, what do you call it, a Harry Potter or whatever, like a magician thing. But I don't, illusionist thing. But I was very baffled about what I was actually seeing. It was some sort of device, a mechanical device that was moving on its own accord from some unseen power source.
That's how Einstein felt about the compass. And it's
Well,
that wonder, that sense of wonder that drives you to want to know. Sorry, go ahead, Eleanor.
Oh well, yeah. This thing about a quantum battery kind of implies that there's some kind of field, which there are quantum
I would have to
fields.
agree.
I mean, that's the Higgs field, So, but you need.
My guess is
usually
fields
you have
upon fields.
Yeah, you have to have some kind of sources that you create a field in between. You don't just Well, except the fields everywhere. I guess that could just be in our reality, but
Yeah.
uh,
You want to see a reaction of the fields, right? Have a look at an electrical storm from orbit of how it reacts with the vacuum of space between the two different mediums. And you start seeing things like sprites.
Oh yeah. I've seen that. I've seen that on videos.
All right, that's a process happening in between fields, in between different mediums, where one field ends and a different medium starts.
well, it's like a charge imbalance there. I mean, that's a release of your your kind of
But it's
getting back to
allowing
that
you to
zero
see
state.
that it's allowing you to see that membrane between the two fields, if you get what I mean.
Right.
Because those sprites only form in certain areas.
Yeah, they are
They can
following the
only
field
exist.
line.
Yeah, that we can't see. It's just they've found that charge and they've illuminated it for a brief period of time for us to be able to capture it on video or tape or film or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, there's even on a different kind of lightning that they haven't that they've only caught it a few times, and it's like it's instead of being like photoluminescence, it'll release like gamma radiation. It's a rare kind of lightning. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, there's all sorts of
Uh,
weird. Yeah, there's all sort.
Chirkov.
What?
I think it's called Chirkov radiation, where you get a particle that react, and then you get a little bit of light that comes out of that, like say a not a gamma
Yeah.
ray, but a what's the other one? Cosmic ray hits something and creates a high energy particle. There's a light that's given off at the same time,
So
and I
why
think
not off the
that's
door?
what you see.
Yeah.
The Chirkov. There's lots of effects, man. I mean, and it all goes back to you've had some kind of radiation, you know, beam or whatever, like put in an area. You've ionized it or raised the level, even if it's semiconductor, whatever, and then that gives off, well, either heat or throws off a photon or something along those lines. I mean, you see that a lot.
Okay. Guys, I gotta end the show. I gotta put my kid to sleep. Sorry about that.
All
All
good.
right.
All right.
We will
No.
catch up at another time.
Yeah, actually, the next show will not be next week. It'll be on the 21st. All right, guys.
All good.
That will
right.
end the show. All right. See you in the 2 weeks.